It's always annoying to move to a new school. Everyone always seems so friendly, eager to know the new kid. But really, I'm not a fan of being in the spotlight. I'm more comfortable working behind the scenes and avoiding attention. On my first day, I decided to have lunch on the rooftop. The cafeteria was rather overwhelming, and deciding where to sit would basically put me in a group for the rest of the school year. I wanted more time to figure out who to trust, so being alone was my solution. When I walked up the stairs, I noticed there was a sign that read, "Do not enter." Most kids would probably turn around and go back, but this just gave me all the more reason to keep going. The sign signified that I would be the only one there. Or so I thought. On the rooftop, there was a girl standing there looking over the edge. I accidentally leaned forward, which made the rusty door creak open, and she quickly turned around. Now we were both staring at each other. The girl had long bangs that covered her eyes, and she wore a school uniform that was identical to mine's. Maybe it was because I was new, but I'd never seen her before. As I approached her, she stood there frozen. I introduced myself while taking my hand out, and she told me that her name was Nana. But for some reason, she didn't take my hand, so I put it back down awkwardly. I'm not sure what it was about her, but I totally felt welcomed. She continued to stand, so I made the first move and took a seat next to her on the floor. Reaching into my lunch bag, I grabbed an apple and handed it to her. Nana claimed she wasn't hungry, so I shrugged and took a bite. She was standoffish, but still, she reminded me of myself. Maybe that's why I liked her so much. For the 30-minute break that I was there, it was mainly me talking to her and asking questions. Nana usually answered with a mutter, almost as if she was unsure about her answers herself. But I didn't mind. It made me feel comfortable. For once, I wasn't the center of attention. She acted as if I was a normal person. After lunch, I waved goodbye and made my way back down the steps into my classroom. I kept looking behind me, but she never followed. Even during class, my eyes trailed to the window facing the hallway, but I never saw Nana come down from the staircase. I guess she was skipping class. What a rebel. Every day for the next couple of months, I kept going up to the rooftop for lunch. None of my classmates ever said anything to the teachers, even though they definitely knew where I was going. Me and Nana's rendezvous continued. Somehow, she was always there before me. Even if I tried to leave class early, I always found her standing near the edge of the rooftop. Whenever I questioned her about it, she just smiled at me and said I was too slow. We began to grow closer every day we ate lunch together. Yet, I never saw her eat anything. She told me her mom usually cooks a big dinner, so she doesn't bother with lunch. So I brushed it off. It wasn't until my 5th month in my new school when one of my classmates pulled me aside. He claimed he noticed that I was going to the rooftop, even though it was forbidden by school rules. Before I could tell him not to snitch, he gave me a warning. Apparently, the school roof wasn't actually forbidden to go on, which is why no teachers ever scolded me. Still, I questioned the sign that I saw on my first day. He told me most students thought it was haunted, and that's why no one ever goes up there. When I asked him what could possibly haunt the school roof, he told me the story of a girl who used to attend our school. She was known for her infamous overgrown bangs and repetitive name. My mind automatically went to Nana. On the last day of school, before winter break, over 20 years ago, she jumped off the school roof, but never landed on the floor. Her body just disappeared. Students say her spirit haunts the school, waiting until she can successfully finish her final task. It all started to make sense. The reason why Nana didn't shake my hand, why she never eats, and how she always gets up on the roof before me. She was a ghost. To repay her with keeping me company, I knew the right thing was to help her move on to the next world. During lunch that day, I went up to the rooftop and saw her standing near the edge. I began to approach her, a lump forming in the back of my throat. I had actually begun to consider Nana an actual friend over these past couple of months. But this was gonna be the last time I ever see her. Once I mustered up the courage, my hands moved on their own and pushed her off the edge. At first, I felt relieved, almost as if a weight was lifted off my chest. But I started to hear screaming, not from Nana, but more like a mix of various students and teachers. I looked over the edge and saw that there was blood surrounding a girl's body on the floor. I quickly realized it was Nana's body, but ghosts aren't supposed to have bodies, right? As she laid on the floor, her bangs were pushed out of her face, and I finally saw her eyes for the first time ever. They were dead.